For cheap gold, items and other boosts for Diablo 4, visit aoeah.com. Check out the link in the description, you get 3% off with the code ARIAT. Hello and welcome everybody. This is my final endgame Whirlwind Barbarian guide. With this build I am destroying T4 dungeons that are above my level. Let's go. First let's see the skill tree. The base attack is Lunging Strike with 1 point and enhancement. At the core skills we maximize the Furious Whirlwind to make monsters bleed. In the defensive skills, Tactical Rallying Cry and Tactical Iron Skin are fully upgraded. Also 3 points each in Imposing Presence and Martial Vigor. In the end, we also invest 3 skill points to unlock Tactical Challenging Shout. In the brawling skills, we are taking Power Warcry with 1 point, plus the passive skills Booming Voice, Guttural Yell and Swiftness with 3 points each. In the Weapon Mastery node, we add 3 points to Pit Fighter and No Mercy. Also 1 point in Hamstring, so we can also benefit from increased damage to slowed enemies. With the ultis, we go for the superior Wrath of the Berserker, but you can also play with the Ancients as you like. Besides, 3 points in Heavy Handed. The last passive skill is finally Working Arsenal. Who likes can also go on Unbridled Rage. So all in all the skill tree looks like this. Our 6 skills we use are obviously Lunging Strike and Whirlwind, Iron Skin and Battle Cry, War Cry and the Ultimate. As a more defensive setting we could also omit the ulti and add Challenging Shout to the keys instead. Now the Paragon system. On the first board we skill the 2 damage nodes Brawn and Raw Power and socket the Glyph Territorial for increased damage to nearby enemies. The second board is Warbringer, which we rotate until Raw Power is at the bottom right. The legendary node itself is not interesting, we want to get to the Glyph as fast as possible and get Raw Power for physical damage. In the socket we put the Glyph Exploit, thus all monsters we hit become vulnerable, so they get 20% more damage plus the bonus by the Glyph. As soon as you have points left, you can also take the node with all resistances. Then we continue skilling to the right attachment point. The third board is very important, it is the Decimator board. We rotate the board until the legendary node is down in the middle. Since we make all enemies vulnerable, it makes sense to take Demolish for extra damage. Also the physical node Brawn and Destroyer, because we will play with a 2-handed weapon here. In the Glyph socket I have Might for more damage with 2-handed weapons. Later we also take Arrogance and then Pillage. That will be a further good damage boost. For board number 4 I recommend Blood Rage or Weapon Master. Blood Rage is great because we make monsters bleed, so there's a lot on this board that you can take. Grit and Revel, as well as Carving and Enraged, and also the legendary node itself is useful here. The Glyph is Disembowel, but you will have to get it to level 15. Only with more range you will be able to unlock the mods you want. The last board could be Weapon Master or Flawless Technique. Otherwise, you can still put enough points on the boards you already have. One important thing to note as well, in the expertise you should set the type of weapon you use. I use a two-handed sword here. Now the items. It is important that you have a weapon with a lot of base damage, about 2500 is already pretty strong. But also the affixes on the items make a lot of difference for the damage output. There are many different types of damage increase we benefit from. Physical damage, damage to near enemies and core skill damage are obvious, but since we also make monsters vulnerable, bleeding and slow them down, all these damage mods will help too. Critical strike chance and damage are of course also very nice, and since we will be in the berserker mode quite often, that mod is also useful. You should put lots of good damage multipliers on the unused weapon slots, the base weapon damage is not so important there. The most important aspects for the build are definitely Grasping Whirlwind, which pulls the monsters together, and Dire Whirlwind for crit boost. The extra blast damage from Glyphs, the Dust Devil or Ancients are quite nice adds, but less important. Protector and Iron Warrior are useful defensive aspects, as well as some fury generation and cooldown reduction for the shout skills. Other useful stats on items are of course life, various types of damage reduction, resistances, cooldown reduction and of course additional skill levels, preferably on Whirlwind. We also need attributes for the Paragon board, especially strength and dexterity. This barbarian shreds down everything that crosses his way. The motto is spin to win. If you pull together too many strong elite mobs, it can sometimes get dicey. For that case you should have your iron skin ready, or whirl more carefully and not always right through the core of the mobs. Besides, we can still take one or the other defensive note on the Paragon boards to make the Barb even more stable. You can enjoy a few more strong gameplay clips. I say goodbye, take care and may the loot be with you.
follow me. Thanks. Goodbye.